Yeah!
Washington, D.C., maybe a day or two more here. And back to, some real city. Not that it's a great improvement, New York, Boston, Miami, Palm Beach, Manchester. Oh, what a swamp. What a swamp. Well, Zelensky's been around here. I think he's gone now. I don't know if anybody put anything in his tin cup. He had a little tin cup he was going around looking for. Somebody told him on the way that he would need a bigger tin cup because he's looking for 65 billion.
Damn it.
I thought it was 60 billion. Every time he comes, it goes up a little. I think he whispers and shows year. You want to see those other pictures on the other hard drives? Because Zelensky's got the whole thing. The whole thing. Remember that. It's one of the big, hidden, corrupt situations involved with Ukraine. It colors the whole Ukrainian situation, which shouldn't be colored. It's too important. But this is what we got when we elected a crook who was compromised by Ukraine. Everyone knew that. Even with the cover-up of the hard drive, I had gotten out enough about Ukrainian corruption, so it should have been unearthed. Wasn't investigated at all. Investigated and prosecuted a year before he ran for president. And now the United States would not be in this very, very difficult and compromised position of giving billions and billions of dollars that it doesn't have and supporting a war in Ukraine that never had to happen. But even worse than that, they need support. They need to win, ideally, right? However, this man comes here with his tin cup, number one, with no plan. No plan to end it. How much longer, Zelensky, are we funding you? Is this an endless stream of 100 billion a year to you? And second, of course, Biden never be the one to ask him for this. He's too compromised, and it'd probably be too dangerous even for him. What about accountability? What about a full and complete audit so that all those very cynical Republicans who right now are playing protector of the purse, protectors of the taxpayers, how about letting them do an audit of the 100 billion plus that you've already spent? And let's see how much got to the front lines and how much got to your favorite oligarchs, including the chief money launderer in Ukraine, who is your patron. You remember him? Kolomoisky. I remember him, Zell. I bet you remember him. He made you a multimillionaire, didn't he? How much do you owe to him? So condition number one, accountability on the money. Condition number two, full and complete audit. So we figure out, did we actually give you enough money to win? But oligarch A, B, C, and D did their usual thing because you don't have the couillons to stop them. Question, why do I ask that? I ask that because you still keep the biggest money launderer and one of the biggest criminals in Ukraine right around you. Then what's your plan? How long? How long are we going to fight Russia? 5 years, 10 years? We want to go Afghanistan, 20? Aside from the fact you can get an awful lot of your people killed. So we got to have a time plan. What's your plan? Are you willing to accept any form of a compromise? I'm not saying compromise your principles. I'm saying, is there a compromise where Russia gives, you give, and you save a couple 100,000 Russian lives? Wouldn't that be nice? Life is so valuable, isn't it? Okay, they got a little of Ukraine. You get a little back. Who knows what happens in years and years as your economies grow? But at least those people get a chance to live their lives. And why the hell is it that we got ceasefire in Gaza, but nobody None of these left-wing communist students wants a ceasefire in Ukraine. They don't seem to give a damn if you pull your brains out forever. You and the Russians can just kill yourself. We don't care. Just kill yourself. Kill yourself for what purpose? You tried to get you tried to get a split in their lines and you couldn't do it. That took us 135 billion. Now, tell us what you're going to do with this 65 billion. You're going to drive them out? You're going to drive them to a position where you're ready to negotiate, where they do get some of Ukraine? Those are the conversations that Biden has to have with you. But you know Biden can't have it with you for two reasons. He's cognitively impaired. And number two, you got him by the balls. And you can squeeze the hell out of him. And finally, we really can't continue with you much longer until you straighten out your own government. The Biden case intertwined our government and yours in corruption at the highest level. That corruption involved our vice president. It involved your president. Your president is still walking free. Our vice president is still walking free. That's got to be brought to a conclusion. We can't have this hanging over our head because there'll never be an honest Ukraine. There isn't an honest America right now, unless we straighten that out. So, Joe, hand over the whole file. Show us the Biden bank accounts. You know exactly how much Joe got. You know how much Poroshenko got. You show us you got the guts to stand up to the prior president, then maybe we got somebody there who's a leader. If not, maybe we should move on. In addition, we got Biden, who, as Gates said, and never fails, never made a correct decision about foreign policy, now interfering, as he has been from day one, in Israel and becoming a total partisan of Hamas, Palestine, Iran, and China. He wants Bibi to change. He really wants to get rid of Bibi. Where does the president of the United States come off telling a friend of ours, get the hell out of government because I don't like the solution you have? You got to go for a two-state solution or get out, or change your conservative members who refuse to go along with a two-state solution. Joe, a two-state solution is a recipe like Jim Baker and Bill Clinton brought to us for 30 years of war in the Middle East. They fell for that with Arafat, and it's been our demise since then. The answer is real simple. Palestine's not ready to be a state. We're not ready to have two terrorist sponsoring states right next to each other. You give money to the other one already, Iran. Oh, you give money to Palestine too, but at least it isn't a state exporting terrorism. You cannot put on the border of Israel or inside Israel a country that is vowed to destroy it. And don't give me this stuff that only Hamas is vowing to destroy it. You know nothing about foreign policy, Joe. We know that. Gates told us that. I know a lot about it. Let me tell you, there are very few Palestinians that don't want to see Israel annihilated and wouldn't be very happy to see every Jew in the world killed. That's simply the way it is. And if you care for the Jewish people, you face up to that reality. You don't put them in a situation where the chances of their getting annihilated in Israel with time, and as these countries become smarter and smarter and better at arms, will happen. Hezbollah today is not Hezbollah of 20 years ago. That's why there were 1,000 troops on the border, 100,000 troops, on the northern border. Hezbollah has invaded the basically non-militarized zone between Lebanon and Israel. They have 100,000 troops there. And Bibi, who is a leader and is for Israel first, unlike you, who are for China first, Bibi has made it clear, get the hell out of there or things are going to start popping. Now, there are little hits going back and forth between Hezbollah and Israel. Hezbollah is a different animal than Hamas. 10 times the rockets, 20 times the complexity. Can they be beaten by Israel? Yes. Will it be straining to the last resource to carry on 2 wars? See, I'm lost without my maps. They're back home, Ted. When are we going home? I need my maps. Well, in any event, Israel is ready for Hezbollah. I'm not saying we want it. They don't want it. They want a peace. So far, Hezbollah has been hitting them, but very carefully. Not quite as carefully as Biden hits targets, where he hits empty ammunition shells as Americans get wounded, injured, and killed, because our president is a sellout. But Hezbollah is doing tactical strikes that wouldn't require a major response for Israel. And Bibi is responding with tactical strikes. They're playing possum right now. But both sides have 2 leaders. When you play with the United States, you're playing with a country that has virtually no American-oriented leadership, which is sad. Every day, I could say the same thing. I might as well just record it, and then we could play. I could take a little rest now and go to sleep. The border is out of control. It set a record last Tuesday at 12.5. Looked today like it might set a record again. Got real close. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I don't think it did. But that record is owned by Joe Biden. In fact, Joe Biden beats his own record. And when I tell you he's letting more illegals in, I want you to consider a couple of things that makes it much more serious than even ever before. First of all, we include every other president here. We're not just doing the usual comparison to Trump, where he blames everything on Trump, but the American people now realize this was nirvana under Trump. Nirvana means something like heaven. Not because it was like heaven, but in comparison to it's being like hell. Let's just start off with the fact that Trump did one of the things that an American president loves to feel that he can do. Eisenhower did when he passed the country on to Kennedy. He got the country with the Korean War, and he passed it on with no war. Trump got the country with the Taliban way out of control, with Syria breaking red lines left and right, and Biden basically hiding in the basement of the White House, counting out cash for Iran and not doing anything, and saying that they were the JV, that ISIS was the JV. He had to eliminate all of them. He did. It took about a year and a half. And then he passed on to Joe Biden, a world at peace. Joe Biden has now given us a world that has the interconnections. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Pray to God that it's not. In fact, if I had to guess, I would say it's not. But I sure as heck could be prepared for it, because it could, if all those things make sense to you. I hope they do. But it has the makings of a world war. The makings of a world war are where you have several conflicts in different places, but where the powers of the world are lined up behind them as pawns or proxies. Well, I could tell you about the First World War if you want to do it on a chart. That does require a chart, because it's a lot of kingdoms and monarchies that don't exist anymore. But they were all on one side or the other, and some of them didn't know what side they were on. They're going back and forth. And the war, some of them decided the day the war started. Second World War, a little tighter. You had 2 basic groups, right? And the Axis powers, and you'll be very surprised by this, but until very late into everything that was going on, Hitler and Stalin were allies. It was Russia, Germany, Italy, and Japan. Stalin did not turn on Hitler. Hitler turned on Stalin. Just to give you an idea of how comfortable the communists are with Nazis. So when you hear people say communist Nazi tactics, please read your history. They're synonymous in terms of the tactics they use, and they are extremely comfortable with each other until they decide who's in charge. But we have all the makings of a world war. And it takes a leadership on the part of the United States and some fear of the United States to stop it. Leadership is a joke. And fear from Joe Biden is another joke. If he falls down one more time or walks in the wrong direction, what do you think that conveys to Z? And oh my goodness, it's terrible. It's terrible. I don't know if they shouldn't put somebody out. I don't know if they shouldn't put somebody out there, to back them up and to give us somebody that we can have some confidence in. So we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about what happened to your PP money, because it's still being fraudulently conveyed all over the place, having zero to do with COVID.
And of course, that's PPP for the Paycheck Protection Program funding.
Thought it was the Pimp Protection Program. Towers Foundation delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's greatest heroes have made for us. Heroes who risked their lives to keep our communities and our country safe. Heroes like United States Marine Corps Captain and Pilot John Jeremy Sachs. Captain Sachs sustained fatal injuries when his military aircraft crashed during training, killing him and 5 other service members. He's remembered by loved ones as courageous, brilliant, and devoted to his career, family, and friends. John is survived by his wife, Amber, who gave birth to their second daughter 3 months after his death. Tunnel to Towers paid the mortgage on the family home for Amber and their 2 daughters. The foundation has helped over 1,000 military and first responder families navigate the worst of times by removing the burden of a mortgage payment. Our nation's heroes and their families need your help now more than ever. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. T2T.org. That's T, the number 2T.org. T2T.org. Please donate now. This is Rudy Giuliani, America's mayor, back with you in Washington, D.C., where I really do feel it's an appropriate place to talk about the New York Football Giants, because I watch many a Giant Redskin. They used to be a team in the NFL game here that went either way. And they had the Redskins and the Giants. The Giants have had a very good rivalry with every team in the Eastern Division, whether it's Dallas, Philadelphia, or Washington. They've all been very strong. Dallas gets the most attention. Philadelphia, to me, was always the toughest. But I hesitated to talk about this because it will hurt a young man that is sitting here with me very deeply. It's the Tommy DeVito story. Now, Tommy is a son of New Jersey. I hate to say that because it might someday get it changed to the New Jersey Giants, which would then screw everything up for television. And Ted, Ted, everyone knows Ted. Ted, although from Michigan, you'd figure he's a Lions fan, right? But Ted doesn't do anything expected. Ted is the unexpected. He is a Green Bay Packer fan. And if you watch that game on Monday night, I will give him one consolation, which I gave to all my Patriot fans after we beat them twice in the Super Bowl. You could have won the game just as easily as lost it. Whenever you win a game by a point or 3 points, the game could go either way. It's usually an interception, a guy who gets in the end zone, a disputed play interference call. But Tommy DeVito is a big deal because first of all, I have to admit, because he's Italian American, so That gets my father working in me and my grandfather. And even Maria and, you name it. My son, Andrew, the Italian-American thing, boom, 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 really, really tough. Second, he comes from New Jersey football, where he played for my son's arch rival, Don Bosco. My son went to St. Joe's a little before him and was a superior place killer, the best in New Jersey football at the time. And so we follow New Jersey football. I guess he's third string, and he's just won 3 games in a row. Now he wins them a little bit like I don't know. Let me get your view. The real football expert around here is Teddy. So let him tell us a little of what he thinks if he can get beyond his depression.
Well, that's the problem. Of course, we're talking about Tommy DeVito. The mayor already mentioned New Jersey. Still lives with his parents. His favorite food is chicken cutlets. Look, he's all New Jersey, and so he's a hometown kid. Grew up in the shadow of MetLife Stadium, or I'm guessing the Meadowlands at the time. Although he is young, right?
Yeah. You can call it any of those things.
So he's good. He's won 3 in a row. But of course, as we know, before we get too excited, no matter what, this is a success story. By all accounts, he's a good man. I've actually talked to some people, Mayor, who know his family. Good kid.
Oh, salt of the earth.
All that stuff, right?
Ideal antidote to The Sopranos. If you're thinking about Italians in New Jersey, a good antidote to The Sopranos. That whole there's nobody that can talk with more authority than me on the mafia. And yes, it did exist. Yes, it was Italian Americans. Yes, it still exists in brain diminished form. The brain power, the brain pool is diminishing, so that now this guy that just got arrested for punching somebody for an $86,000 debt. Swear to God, Vito Genovese wasn't taking out for $86,000. But things must be getting tough in the mafia. So this is the exact opposite. Hardworking. Grandfather started a business. Father has the business. He works in the business, and he makes it. What was he? Was he drafted, or was he a walk-on?
So let's look at his. So of course, Tommy DeVito. He played quarterback at Illinois, which is a Big Ten school. Of course, he started at Syracuse, and Syracuse, Big East, ACC, and he transferred from Syracuse to Illinois.
Right.
And then, really didn't play much, to be honest. I mean, he had
play much for the Giants.
He didn't play much for Syracuse, and that's why he transferred. Right. He had 1 year in 2019 where he played 12 games. The next year, 4 games. The next game, 3. In 2022, that's when he transferred to Illinois. He played all 13 games, helped the team finish to an 8-5 record. And for Illinois football, that's considered, good. I don't want to say good, but acceptable, right? Like not bad.
And the Giants.
And then he was signed by the Giants as an undrafted free agent in April of 2023 this year.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you how this happens, because of course the coaches in New Jersey, and Don Bosco being one of the best football schools in New Jersey, a perennial school champion, at times rated in the top 10 of high school football teams in the United States. The coach has got a great relationship, I'm sure, with the Giants and the Jets. So he'll pick out guys here and there when they need somebody to look at and say, take a look at him, take a look at him, take a look at him. 2 of Andrew's teammates, you'll know, the McSorley twins, who played, one played.
The McCourty brothers.
McCourty, right.
And those are athletes. Those are athletes.
The two of them played very excellent NFL football. One with the Patriots on a number of Super Bowls, including the 2 losers to the Giants, and the brother on one, including at least 1 winner, maybe 2. I think the brothers started off in Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. But they were twins. But they were 2 excellent NFL quality guys.
Oh, yeah. Those are
playing out of New Jersey.
Yep.
I give you a bunch of others. So Tommy has New York really, really excited, because New York and New Jersey they are one. And it's so good to see this kid making it. Now, let's evaluate him as a quarterback.
Let's do it.
What do we see? I'm going to tell you what I see, and I'm going to now go.
I don't want to be the wet blanket here, Mayor.
I'm not going to wet blanket it. I'm just.
I am a little bit.
But it's not a wet blanket. He's still a young quarterback. Doesn't mean he can't become a better passer. He's a smart player. He's got a couple of things that say this guy could be really good. A couple of things that say there are limitations. One, smart. Doesn't make a lot of mistakes. Doesn't get riled. Doesn't get worked up. Doesn't run too quickly out of the pocket. And for a guy who does not appear to be a great passer, he stays in the pocket a fair amount of time. He is an excellent runner. Excellent runner. He becomes part of the offense as a runner, as you saw the other night. He's really going to have to improve his passing. I mean, it sounds weird. Well, quarterback's got to be a great passer. He's not that he isn't a really good passer, but he's not the passer you would expect as a number one guy in the Giants. If he could get the passing down right, he got the single most important thing that you can't teach. He makes very smart plays, and that's how he helped the Giants win. Big factor in their wins. It wasn't as if he just sat back and handed off the ball. He sat back, handed off the ball expertly, a lot of play action, a lot of moving the ball around, a lot of running the ball himself. Doesn't seem to be afraid to stay in the pocket too long. Seems to use it sometimes to get out. So let's see. What do you say?
Look, I think, I mean, in a weird way, similar to Daniel Jones and how you saw some of his progression, I would say last year, DeVito is able to move. He's able to move, right?
If he could do what Jones did last year, he'd be fine. Jones proved himself a pass. Jones had the same problem 2 years ago that he has.
Yep.
Great runner. You almost wish he was a running back, but didn't seem to be a great passer. Last year, fabulous passer.
And against the Packers, what I noticed with him is how quick he was, right? The difference between the pro game, obviously high school, but even college, even the biggest of the big in college, right? Mm-hmm. Big Ten, SEC. When it comes to a quarterback, knowing how much time he has in that pocket, right? And that thing can collapse in a split second in the NFL. And I noticed against the Packers, DeVito was able to, I felt, and I saw it on a few plays, he was able to identify when it was time to get the heck out, and he used his feet and got out of there.
Well,
that's something that takes
intelligence.
Exactly. And playing and game.
Debate I had 10 years ago with a wise guy, law partner of mine, who was I liked Wilson and he liked Kaepernick, and they came up at the same time. And when Kaepernick took over, he was so excited. Kaepernick was he's like woke. And I said, I'm going to tell you the difference. The Seattle guy runs, but the Seattle guy runs with his brain.
Now you're talking about Russell Wilson or the new one, Geno Smith?
No, the real.
Russell Wilson, who's now with Denver.
Well, he's also a Super Bowl winner.
Yeah. No, I know what you meant
Russell
when you said
Wilson
Seattle. Yeah.
Runs with his head. The other guy runs only with his feet. And he played really well. Their number one quarterback came back. They didn't put him in, and they lost the Super Bowl over it when Kaepernick threw the intercepting pass right into the arms of the other guy because he panicked. You don't say, well, Wilson did make one of the stupidest plays in the history of the Super Bowl when he threw in the middle of the line. By the way, it could have been the smartest play in the history of the football if it worked. When he threw right in the middle of the line on the Patriots. He lost that one to the Patriots, I think. But
that's
now
right.
that we've had our sports time, when we come back, we're going to start talking about, well, what follows sports? Politics.
2024.
Our device is something that you can plug into your television, and now you can use your television as a social television type experience. So in the Portal universe, you can watch your favorite content creators' videos, live streams, music. We also have TV subscriptions as well.
Subscriptions.
You can also
regular channels, all the sports.
Right. You can actually cut your cable from your cable subscription and get QUX TV on our QX TV boxes, and you can pay half the price that you're currently paying for your cable television subscription, and you can get all the best premium TV channels and more. I mean, it's really, there's so much on there, Rudy. I mean, you've seen it.
No, I've seen it and I use it, and it's good. I mean, it's great. It's just exactly the same except for half the price. Plus, nobody is finding out what I'm watching, and that's not being reported to anybody.
Right, so you have absolute privacy using this device, which you don't have on other devices out there currently on the market.
This is absolutely great. QUX.TV is how you can find out about it. QUX.TV.
Use promo code Rudy to receive $30 off.
Back. We're back. Mayor, and welcome back to America's Mayor Live with America's Mayor, Rudy Giuliani.
Well, before we get into Hunter Biden here, we have our Washington clips behind us.
We do.
Washington was soiled today for one reason that I can't tell you right now, but will at some point, and quickly. And also by the presence of a guy who has caused incredible devastation for the United States. You got to put this mostly on Joe, right? But Hunter's a 52-year-old guy, so you got to put some of it on him too. He knows what he's doing, and he should know that he's got a father, but he's also got a country, and he's screwing the country big time. If you can't figure out that all those people in Ukraine would be alive today if you didn't put that nitwit in the White House, well, then you don't have a brain. And I don't care if he's your father, your uncle, your husband, or your transgender or whatever. The guy should not be in the White House. He gets people killed. Every single soul in Ukraine that was killed by the Russians would not have been killed by the Russians had Donald Trump remained in the White House and not been cheated out of the election. I'm not allowed. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that right now. In the middle of the trial, I think I can say cheated out of the election. Can't talk about the one particular situation, which of course I'd like to, because there's a lot to it. Very sad day for America. But in any event, we'll get to that. We'll get to that later. What did America's criminal number 2 have to say to that?
So Hunter Biden spoke today. We're loading up the clip. It's taking a little bit longer than I had wanted it to, Mayor, but we are getting it.
While he's doing that, go to
balanceofnature.com. Use that promo code Rudy. Be sure to use that promo code. Not only are you doing yourself a favor, but you are doing your mind and body a favor, and you're supporting everything we're doing over here. Look at those guns. Look at this, man. We have been up and at them for 12 hours at this point. You can't even tell. Can't even tell. It's like we just woke up. Ready to go. Ready to tackle the day.
Maybe this weekend, Ted will explain our weekend to you. A day to you today. Today was a beautiful day, right, Ted? Didn't you?
Up. Not up,
okay.
up.
Okay.
Up.
All right.
Okay. How was the weather today?
I don't know. I never saw.
When I get permission, right? Yeah, we don't have. We can't. We don't have permission. We can talk sports and the weather. How about that?
There was a day. This was America. Okay. People could speak. So what happened to Hunter today?
So we're gonna.
I understand from some of the things that I heard that he's really, really being mistreated. He's really being mistreated. I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that he was the son of Joe Biden and a drug addict, nobody would do anything to him. I mean, he'd be allowed to keep his $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow, whose husband was deposed by Putin, and as a result of it, she became one of the biggest oligarchs. The $3.5 million that seems to have bought her being kept off all sanctions lists, some of which he absolutely belongs on. Joe remembers it when you pay him money. He seems to feel that nobody would bother to ask questions about why he got $1 billion invested in his private equity account when he went over on an airplane with his father to China. He introduced his father to the bank guy that gave him the bill. He gave him $1 billion and he put it into an equity fund. And here were the partners of the equity fund: the son of the vice president, the son of the secretary of state, the nephew of Whitey Bulger, and Red China. And he remained in that, got another 500 million. He remained in that all through the vice presidency. So the vice president of the United States had a son who was a partner with Red China. No, not just with Red China. He was a partner with the chief spy of Red China. And he passed a stolen classified documents every single day. And they're investigating and they're indicting Trump for this and not him. This city of Washington is decrepit. It's a crooked city, and crooked particularly in the criminal justice system and in the court systems. You won't believe it probably as we play this out and describe it over the next couple of months. I hope we can get past the resistance, because I had that same resistance, and maybe if I had seen it sooner, maybe we could have avoided more of it. I don't know. I brought it out as soon as I saw it, and boy, did I get crippled as a result of it. And they're still doing it. So Hunter,
we're going to play the clip. We'll play a short clip here, Mayor.
Okay, well now we'll be
your
listening to the distinguished partner of Whitey Bulger's nephew.
We're playing it. Yep. So we're going to play the first one. We're going to play here is Hunter from today on the steps of the Capitol.
For 6 years, I've been the target of the unrelenting Trump attack machine, shouting, "Where's Hunter?" Well, here's my answer. I am here. Let me state as clearly as I can. My father was not financially involved in my business, not as a practicing lawyer, not as a board member of Burisma, not in my partnership with a Chinese private businessman, not in my investments at home nor abroad, and certainly not as an artist. During my battle with addiction, my parents were there for me. They literally saved my life. They helped me in ways that I will never be able to repay. And of course, they would never expect me to. And in the depths of my addiction, I was extremely irresponsible with my finances. But to suggest that as grounds for an impeachment inquiry is beyond the absurd. It's shameless. There's no evidence to support the allegations that my father was financially involved in my business, because it did not happen. James Comer, Jim Jordan, Jason Smith, and their colleagues have distorted the facts by cherry-picking lines from a bank statement, manipulating text I sent, editing the testimony of my friends and former business partners, and misstating personal information that was stolen from me. There is no fairness or decency in what these Republicans are doing. They have lied in what these Republicans are doing.
All these years, and he's gotten away with it. All these years, I've got sitting in my file a single piece of paper from the government of Latvia pointing out a $3 million money laundering that he was at the core of. Nobody did anything with it. Of course, for 2.5, 3 years, we had his signature lying about being a drug addict and possessing a gun, and then walking around with a gun as a drug addict, which is a 10-year felony. And his crying being a drug addict, you shouldn't prosecute him for. Then what the hell you have the statute for? Obviously, the Congress of the United States made a decision. I think most people would agree. Most liberals agree all the time on this. That certainly people who are drug addicts, mentally ill, and have criminal record, shouldn't have guns. They're more dangerous than other people. I think there you get almost unanimity, even from the gun people and the gun control people. So Hunter's excuses, but I was a drug addict. Well, that's like the mentally ill person saying, gee, I didn't know any better. I should have been able to have a gun, right? Or the alcoholic saying, gee, I should be able to have a gun. The whole idea is to keep it out of the hands of people who are responsible. Now, it was worth Hunter. It was an easy decision. He was driving his automobile, smoking crack. He could have killed a kid and he wouldn't have given a damn. He'd have given a damn for that kid as much as he gave a damn for his own kid, who he denied, had to be forced into a DNA test. Gave her $5,000 a month while he's flying around in a private plane. And stepmom Jill wouldn't put a Christmas stocking out last year. Nice stepmom. Mm-hmm. Fits the old stereotype, huh? And Joe, Grandpa Joe, oh, I love all 6 of my grandchildren. And the other one's looking on television and saying, what about me, Grandpa? Meh, meh. These are thoroughly evil people. And the fact that they're countenanced at all is really horrible. When I hear people say that Trump is ahead of him by 30 points on the economy and 40 points on Israel and 30 points on military and just 30 points on let's have a sensible country than a world at war. And then they tell me, but Joe's a nicer guy. Like Kelly is. Trump would never in a million years leave his grandchild unattended, unacknowledged, hurt like that. Yeah, now they've made some acknowledgement of it. So instead of having Christmas stockings this year, they have no stockings. Because even now they can't put up a Christmas stocking for her. I don't know if they've seen her. Is it my concern? No. But when you tell me what a great guy he is, then it's my concern. Because then you're lying to me. And don't tell me he's a great guy. Look, I'm willing to accept a president who's a great president, but not a great guy. But don't give me a guy who's the worst president in the history of the country and also a crumb bum and crook and pervert. Did they catch him at any of the Christmas parties smelling any of the girls' hair? Or did they have him?
Well,
you know, I found out that that's a real fetish.
Mayor, there's a fetish for everything.
No, I didn't know that.
To be fair.
For 3 years, I've been asking people, like normal men, mostly Republicans are normal men. I've been asking them things like, have you ever met, look, I'm not pretending to be any kind of saint. I'm not. I know about all this weird stuff. The weird stuff and the good stuff. Even the fetishes and, the sucking toes.
Foot fetish, that's a big one. That's a more
toes. I don't get it.
Mainstream, right?
Sucking toes. I guess licking ankles and
ankle fetish.
Well, I guess that other one is a fetish too, where Joe likes the children touching the hair
on his leg
in the swimming pool. Right?
Yeah. It's either a fetish or
pervert. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I didn't say it. We didn't know. We are accusing it.
Do not say that just because he smells hair and likes children in the swimming pool, touching his short hairs. Do not say he's a pervert.
You're not allowed. Of course. So, Mayor, let's if we turn our attention to the election, right? We're coming up now, about a month out, and we're seeing some movement amongst the rest of the pack, right? Because Trump is so far ahead.
Mm-hmm.
But in the state of New Jersey, in the state of New Hampshire, a state we've gotten to know quite well. I think that's fair to say, right?
Uh-huh.
Even in our time with the show, and of course you've known it, running for president and supporting so many people up there over the course of the last few decades, and then, of course, with Dr. Maria.
I'm reading this stuff here about smelling hair.
Yeah.
Somebody tells me she's very uncomfortable with her boyfriend smelling. But now he's begun to smell her he's begun to smell her underarms.
Underarms.
How can I stop him from doing it? I would say get a new boyfriend.
Yeah.
If you like smelling your hair and your underarms, and that's the whole thing. That's the lovemaking thing.
Well, imagine. I mean,
Go to.
it could make things
Go to
easy
a
for her,
good,
though.
solid, straight, old-time sex education course.
No.
And find out what it's about. It's not about the hair.
Yeah. But hey, imagine if that's all it took, and if he's in a bad mood, and all she has to do is lift up her armpit.
Going, well, one day you're smelling girls' heads, and the next you're rifling through old rubbish looking for women's clothes to smell. I tell you what, save yourself some time and check yourself into the nut house now.
That's a comment or a reply to someone posing
That's a
question.
comment, I guess. No, reply 8. They're still not giving me the name of this thing.
Well, I don't know. Where are you looking, Mayor?
I'm looking. Oh, here it is.
What are you on a website?
I want you to know what the name. I want everyone to know what a hair fetish is, and I want you to write it on here.
A hair fetish?
A smelling hair.
Okay.
I want you to write it on here with a nice red pen in nice letters on the opposite side of where the cards are. Here, here's a pen. You got a pen? Just write it on there. It's
Hold on.
trichophilia.
Whoa, that's a big word, Mayor.
T-R-I.
I went to a state school. T-R-I?
I don't care where you went to
We're
school.
not all Harvard.
T-R-I. It meant you probably, if you didn't go to Harvard, you weren't exposed. You're not anti-Semitic. That's good. You don't hate Jews. And number 2, you're not trying to get kids to chop off their genitalia. T-R-I-C-H-O. Trichophilia. P-H-I-L-I-A. What to know about it?
P-H-I.
T-R-C-H. T-R-I-C-H.
O-P-H.
O-P-H-I-L. No. I jumped ahead of you. T-R-I-C-H-O. Philia. P-H-I-L-I-A.
We got it, Mayor.
Okay, let's show them. I'm going to read the little description I got here. This is called trichophilia. The question will be now, we will examine over the next couple of days shots of Bobo Joe.
Hold that up for our Instagram audience one more time. Yeah, let's get a good picture of that. All right. Good.
So we will hold this up several times and see if people can pick it out on him. Trichophilia, also known as a hair fetish, is when someone feels sexually aroused by or attracted to human hair. This can be any type of human hair, chest hair, armpit hair, or pubic hair. However, the most common focus for this attraction seems to be human head hair. Fits Joe, right? Trichophilia can present as a long or short hair fetish, hair pull fetish, or haircut fetish, among others. Sexual preference involving hair is not uncommon. It's perfectly fine as long as you're not hurting other people, like scaring the living bejesus out of young girls. While the actual percentage of people who have trichophilia is unknown, it's a fetish that both men and women can develop. Here we go over how it can show up and the ways people experience it. What does it make you feel? Fetish or disorder? Oh. If you do it too much, it's a disorder. God, he has so many disorders. I think he would, we'd have to write a whole new DSM for him.
DSM-5. That's what we use.
Might have to order a whole new DSM for the travails of Crooked Joe, right?
I think
isn't that Trump's latest name for him, Crooked Joe? He doesn't want to call him Sleepy. He doesn't want to call Hillary Crooked Hillary. But the people at the dinner the other night seemed to like Sleepy Joe better.
Well, Mayor, if you turn around, do you recognize the city behind you? Oh, you can kind of see it through there.
Yeah, it's D.C. Right.
Now, that is Washington, D.C. during the summer. And that's actually not far from where we are now. We don't want to give away our location.
One of the leading cities for crime. Can you see any crimes out there?
Look for crimes. So we're in Washington, and you of course hail from what may be the greatest city for Christmas time, right? New York.
You go around this city, you wouldn't even know it's Christmas here.
Yeah, rate Christmas time in Washington D.C.
Zero.
A zero? Not even a. Did you see
what?
Christmas tree in the lobby?
The phony Christmas tree in the lobby?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's fake.
Throw it out.
Let's see what else. Yeah, I'm trying to think between.
Did Joe light a Christmas tree this year yet? Or did he forget?
I noticed
He
there
had
was
trouble with the menorah, didn't he? Did something wrong with the menorah. I forgot.
Oh, are you shocked? Oh, come on. I would just, you could just guess. And you're right. Without even knowing, I would, yes, of course. Especially if you did it all 7 nights.
Harris's husband, who must be as big a bozo as her, told a Hanukkah story that was totally wrong. He said, it's to celebrate the Jews who were in hiding, and they needed lamps to light, and they didn't have enough oil for their lamps, but they lit for 8 days, and God supplied the oil. He forgot to say they were not in hiding. They were celebrating the opening of the temple that had been taken from them by Antiochus, who was the Seleucid king who controlled the Jews and held them in captivity. The Maccabees fought them off, and finally the Seleucids had to give up the temple. The Jews cleaned it out, got rid of the graven idols. Don't know how long that took. It took a while. But then to celebrate it, they had a feast in the temple. And the Seleucids, who was the tribe that had controlled Egypt, well, part of Egypt also, but it controlled Israel, destroyed a lot of the oils for the lamps. They didn't really destroy them. They defiled them. These oils are blessed on a special day, and then you use them all year. So they only had one vial one night, and they decided to go forward and trust in God for the other 8. And they got the other 8. And that is the miracle of Hanukkah. Madam Vice President, stop teaching your husband at home because you're going to make him as stupid as you are. Good. That'd be good. I mean, I just can't stand it because these people not only are arrogant, not only are they torturing me and other Republicans and trying everything they can to stop Trump from being president. It's so patently obvious and nobody's doing anything about it. I mean, it's an outrage. He's on trial 4 times next year by Democratic messed up DAs. Bragg's not messed up. Fanny's not messed up. Jack Smith doesn't look like something out of a horror movie. I'm going to the Supreme Court. Last time you were in the Supreme Court, Jack, they threw you out 9-0. I'm going anyway.
Remember Bob McDonnell?
Yeah.
Governor of Virginia.
Going anyway.
The sad part is, even though Bob McDonnell, that was totally thrown out, right? The damage was still done. I mean, that man was.
Yeah, the same judge. I mean, the Justice Department unit also did damage to Senator Stevens that way. But 9-0 getting thrown out of the Supreme Court because of what things you did. Wow, wow, wow. I tell you. Okay,
Mayor.
Now, Haley got a big endorsement today.
Big endorsement. That's what I wanted to talk to you about.
From Governor Sununu,
I think they call him.
Oh, jeez.
I think, right?
I'm sorry, Governor. I didn't mean that. Sununu. Wait. Let me start all over again. New. Governor Sununu. Right? Did I get it right?
I think you did. I got a question, though.
Was there one too many news?
Sununu.
It's Governor Sununu. Right? Isn't it 4 news?
That's right.
New. Governor one sir, S-U, then new, N-U. Sir, new. Is that right?
That's. But here's my question.
You're not paying attention to me.
No, I am. New. I'm also reading.
God, you missed up. Governor new. New.
New. Governor Sununu.
His father was governor or fired chief of staff. Fired by Bush or by Mrs. Bush, I'm told.
He was the chief of staff to the president.
Yeah, until they threw him out because he was driving everybody crazy. But he was a governor, and he was Governor Sununu.
John Sununu.
Yeah, but in their tradition, you add an extra new. It's like Junior.
So was John a junior or no? Is he the?
Yes, because the first one was Mr.
Sue. Oh.
Sue.
Then you go. Then catching on now. Sue New. The new Sue. The new Sue. So shouldn't it be new?
New. That's the father.
Yeah.
Who everybody dislikes except me. I like him kind of. And then there's the son who is a math double crosser. He's New.
That's
now,
right.
If he has a boy, that'll be New.
But she may or may not have another kid because he's so pro-choice.
It's Sue. New.
But Mayor, how is this working? Sununu's so pro-choice. Haley claims to be pro-life. Does that just not matter?
It's to get everything. Nothing has anything to do with America except Trump. Trump gets up there and for 1 hour tells you what he's going to do for America. He has it memorized. He understands it. He doesn't need cue cards. He doesn't need anything. And then he mixes in great jokes. And everybody else is against Trump. Everybody's against Trump. The Democratic Party's against Trump. The Republican Party's against Trump. The only people for Trump are the 56% of the American people that want him. How growing.
So how do you think? So I guess DeSantis wasn't really playing for the Sununu endorsement, but DeSantis and Christie, how do they feel about Sununu choosing Haley? Do you think Christie ever thought he had a shot? Is Sununu anti-Trump, or just like
anti-Trump,
like big time, where he's vocally anti-Trump?
Anti-Trump.
Okay,
he's definitely anti-Trump.
So why isn't he going with Chris?
I think this is a function of his believing that she has a better chance
To win, and she's not Trump. So DeSantis can't be feeling good. I can't believe
that was a blow. DeSantis worked hard for Sununu's endorsement. They are both governors, after all, right? And
that's a good point. And he was following him around. He was telling him, he was.
Yeah, I mean, DeSantis has had like really bad luck. Maybe really bad planning too.
Yeah. But
the reality is, I mean, he had it. You thought he would get a little bump off of that rather good debate that he had, which was better than Haley's. She got pounded around pretty well, and she got hit on a couple of substance issues that were a couple of.
She did.
Vivek and DeSantis came up with several corruption issues that I can't tell you are corruption, but they're worth somebody looking at. And if she becomes a more serious candidate, I'll look at them and I'll tell you what I think. Like, I have to try to figure out this Adams thing, if I think it's real or not, because I can't tell. Now, that's one point for Adams. Because if it were really on the table, obvious, I could tell. Like the Biden story. Biden story, you're 4 minutes into it and you have a crime. You know you have a crime. The minute you look at the tape, you know you have a crime. And then it just all fills out with 100 pieces of evidence. The Adams thing, well, let me tell you what the Adams thing is. Adams is being alleged to have used straw donors in his mayoral campaign, which means donors who didn't actually contribute the money, but were given the money by someone else so it could be laundered to him. In his particular case, Turkish people who are not allowed to contribute to American campaigns, contributed through shadows, assumed identities, actual people who do that and probably get paid a small fee. That is the crime. Question number one, did it happen? Number two, to what extent? If it's a small amount here and there, it can be attributable to mistakes. If it's a large amount in a pattern, then it's not a mistake, it's a crime. Did Adams know? People do that all the time and don't tell the candidate. I mean, there are very few major candidacies that have not had several shadow or ghost donations. This has a few distinguishing characteristics that they don't have. It came from a guy that he knew well. It came from a country that he spent a lot of time seeming to get to know. So those all look bad, but only look bad. And I am a very big believer that if we're going to return to where we used to be, we stop this, guilty until proven innocent for anyone. And I would say there'd be exceptions to that when the evidence is right out front. Somebody shows up with the canceled check to the public official and is ready to go on the stand and testify to it. You and I don't have to engage in the fiction of presumed innocent. A court does. But when the evidence is this way and that way, as it has been in many of these cases, we do not jump to conclusions just because we don't like Adams. If we don't, he's no different than anybody else. The evidence against him yet is not conclusive in any way at all, and has some, as the 51 former intelligence officials who became political prostitutes, it does not have any of the earmarks of a of an illegal transaction. So let's wait until it gets resolved before we put the guy in jail, huh? Not right. Not right. He's got a big enough job as it is. He doesn't need to spend his time worrying about this. Indict him, get it over with quick. If it's real, drop it if it isn't. So what do we got, Ted? Any
Let's hit the comment section. First of all, let us know. We haven't done this in a while. Comment below. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Give us a city and state. It may be a country. Comment below. Where are you tuning in from? So we're going to take some of those, and then we'll see what other comments we're getting here as we roll right along here on this very busy Wednesday. So, Mayor, let's see what folks are asking. We're getting a lot of questions, a lot of support, a lot of people supporting you with everything that we are doing.
Are they asking about the trial that I can't talk about?
Not too much on that. Montana checking in. Scottsdale, Arizona.
Good.
Klamath Falls, Oregon.
We tried to calm that down because the judge was upset, and we didn't think we had actually done anything in violation of her order the other night because it involved the lawyer rather than the case. But we did, I think. So we don't want to do it deliberately. We have our real objections to this, but violating court orders isn't a good way to go. And there'll be time to give a full and complete explanation. You're not barred from telling the truth at the right time. And the right time is coming up real soon as this case is over. And you'll be shocked at what happened.
Of course, we have San Diego, California checking in. Utah, south of Salt Lake City. Lovely, California. Virginia Beach, Virginia. Staten Island, New York. You might know where that is. Nottingham, England. Santa Barbara, California. Portage, Michigan checking in. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Charleston, South Carolina. Lake Tahoe, Nevada. Franklinville, New Jersey. Darwin, Australia. Omaha, Nebraska. Northern Virginia. California. Mayor, I can't keep up.
You haven't
South
done
Carolina,
this in a while.
But remember when we do them?
A little check of the states. You haven't done that in a while.
We used to do that. But look, I'm getting all sorts. Maui, we got somebody in Hawaii, Florida, New Jersey, California, MAGA, Detroit, Michigan. We have a great audience in Michigan. I'm taking some credit for that. And of course, one of our great moderators, Steven, is here with us.
Steven, how are you? You got a question, Steven?
Steven, you want to come in and say a few words?
Oh, sure. I'm not
how about a question
sure what we're allowed to talk about here.
Nothing about today and what happened in court. But other than that,
we'll talk about court when court's over.
Give us a question. What are you thinking here?
Well, what do you guys think about other elections coming up in 2024?
Yeah. Come on, let's go.
Perhaps maybe the Michigan Senate race. I don't know.
So the Michigan Senate race, Mayor, I don't know how much. You know the former police chief James Craig, great man.
Like him a lot.
Tough guy. Kept the peace in Detroit when other cities were not doing so hot. Full disclosure, I know him, and him and I do talk, so we have to put that out there. Mike Rogers is running.
Like Mike a lot too. Knew him when he was congressman.
Yep, and of course there's a number of Mike Rogers that have served in Congress. Sandy Pensler, who ran before, he's running, and
I know Sandy also.
and you've met Sandy. Yeah, that's right, and I know him as well. And so, look, we'll do some quick change, folks. We'll do some research
You
and
get
come
him into
back
Michigan
here.
politics, he gets so excited he can't control himself.
Body is an amazing chemical laboratory. When you give it the right chemistry, it functions the best. Balance of Nature is the ultimate whole fruit and vegetable chemistry.
Get 35% off your first order by using discount code RUDY.
Other than one should pull. We have a late arrival. Towers Foundation delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's greatest heroes have made for us. Heroes who risked their lives to keep our communities and our country safe. Heroes like United States Marine Corps Captain and pilot John Jeremy Sachs. Captain Sachs sustained fatal injuries when his military aircraft crashed during training, killing him and 5 other service members. He's remembered by loved ones as courageous, brilliant, and devoted to his career, family, and friends. John is survived by his wife, Amber, who gave birth to their second daughter 3 months after his death. Tunnel to Towers paid the mortgage on the family home for Amber and their 2 daughters. The foundation has helped over 1,000 military and first responder families navigate the worst of times by removing the burden of a mortgage payment. Our nation's heroes and their families need your help now more than ever. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. T2T.org. That's T, the number 2T.org. T2T.org. Please donate now.
Back.
Tell me how I look.
I like it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like it.
I-
I think it's a little bit different anyway.
Hey! What the hell are you doing pulling over in my spot?
It reminds me of a
Freaking
SNL.
Giuliani!
That's an SNL skit.
Freaking Giuliani! He's the one who did all these regulations.
I remember that one.
That was an SNL skit.
This damn light. Freaking Giuliani made this light so long.
Is that one of them? I don't remember that one.
Yeah.
I'm making it up as I go along.
Okay.
Look at
'cause
those people just crossing. You think you can cross anywhere, bozo?
freaking Giuliani,
There we go. What is this light going to change?
right? There's a long light.
That was my fun. I'm going to call it that freaking Giuliani.
Yeah. Wait till it
There
gets.
I am sitting here ready to go. It won't start. Well, we're dead. My car is dead.
The car-
Call AAA.
Well,
I
it's
need help.
it just turned green.
Here we go. Oh, I think I'm on the wrong side of the street. Ted.
Yeah. Well, I think you're driving back.
Look at those cars. They're on the wrong side of the street. I'm going to pull over into it.
That's actually funny. I kind of like it. We could do something with that.
That is funny. It's reversed. It's
Yeah.
reversed. I don't know. Maybe it gets reversed back for them. I'm not sure.
Oh, because you're looking through.
Yeah. I'm looking through the mirror. here.
Reflection.
Yeah, I'm looking at a reflection.
A reflection.
It's
But
very-
those are the
it's
streets
very,
of
very-
Northwest DC right here. That might be U Street. That looks like around the U
It's not
Street.
me Street.
Adams
It's
Morgan.
not my street.
That's yours.
Oh, is this Georgetown? Stephen would know. Stephen's lived here as well. So Mayor, okay, so people are tuning
What's it
in.
like to live here? Let's ask.
Let's talk about it. Yeah. Talk about how it's different now. Obviously with
my
COVID, but even before COVID, how is it different now than 19?
Oh my God!
the
It's the capital of the Biden fascist regime. It's very depressing. I mean, and the most depressing thing are the Americans that don't recognize that it's a fascist regime. It's a fascist regime from the presidency, the courts, the mayor's office. I mean, the mayor has loosened up a bit, but she did a lot of damage with the kind of crime we have now. It doesn't seem to be able to get control of it. It's really quite tragic the way it's become. And people are afraid of crime, as they should be. Per capita, I don't know the exact difference, but the crime rate is substantially higher than New York. So with all New York's problems with people coming in, New York is still a safer city than Washington, D.C., and it shouldn't be that way. And it's spread out quite a bit. The crime is spread out into neighborhoods that didn't have crime before. Or much crime. Every neighborhood had crime, but not much crime.
And where did you live when you were in DC?
I lived in Arlington for a while, in a building that overlooked the river, and then I lived on Capitol Hill.
You did live on Capitol Hill.
Justice Court on Capitol Hill.
Justice Court on Capitol Hill. Is that by the Supreme Court?
Yes, right behind it.
So I must know that area. I may have crashed there a few nights. I know.
There's a lot of nice parts there.
I know exactly where you're talking, right? Right by the Supreme Court.
Yeah, it's like, kind of like a cream color now.
Yeah.
Used to be red brick.
Oh, you remember?
Well,
That's funny.
I remember the name.
There's a red brick.
Justice Court. You don't forget that. Oh, that's the name of the building or the name of the court?
3-story houses.
Yep. That's all That's all.
Yep.
That's all Capitol Hill, of course. A very historic neighborhood. However, I will say, compared to New York, Washington D.C. is a small town.
Yeah,
it's compared to where I'm from. It's a large city.
It's a dull town.
It's
a dull town. It's politics, if you like it. Beyond that, it had a bit of a culture for a while. That's kind of
it did.
The pandemic and crime has sort of killed it.
I think you're right.
But its culture is all secondary. It comes from somewhere else. It's replaying something from somewhere else, or it's playing something that's going to go to New York or Boston.
Yeah, that's a good
it's
point.
It's not really a primary culture, and it tries to be, but it suffers from the fact that nobody comes from here.
That's right.
There are a few people who say they're Washingtonians, but and then the political winds change, and then people become disillusioned. Like Republicans hate it now, right? Because
that's a good point.
It's Biden's city. It's during COVID, it was run like a little dictatorship.
Yeah.
I mean, you might as well have been in East Berlin during the Soviet era. And then it became Black Lives Matter painted on the streets. Nobody paying attention to the fact that Black Lives Matter is a Marxist organization that would like to take over the United States, starting with your children.
That's right.
Oh, and by the way, a bunch of thieves because they stole all the money they got. But all the jackasses put down Black Lives Matter signs and saluted to Black Lives Matter and played into the racial arson that goes on in Washington and then spreads out all over the country, which I've never subscribed to and I think is very unhealthy for America.
What was your favorite spot? I don't know about to hang out. What's your favorite monument or memorial or maybe building?
Lincoln and Jefferson are the favorites. I mean, they're hard to tell apart.
Yeah, Jefferson's a lot tougher to get to.
Jefferson is tougher to get to, but both of them have very, very significant quotations from the great men. And it really, you can therefore enjoy being there for some time and contemplate. Whereas a lot of the monuments have one little thing and they have, the walls are filled with some of their greatest sayings that you'll remember.
7 years ago. What's a score? Is that a 25?
I think it was
20 or 25? 20?
20 or 21.
21. A score, I think. 7 years ago, and that speech was in 1860. So it would make sense that it would have been 20. I think it's it could be 21.
I don't know if it's 20 or 21.
20.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
My former boss made me memorize all that.
So we will tomorrow maybe be able to fill you in on my trial and what has happened and what will happen in the future because there's a future to it. And as soon as we can, given the restrictions, get you the background of it in the most appropriate way possible. And hopefully Biden will back off and let Bibi finish the job. He's so close to at least getting Hamas under some degree of control. But today the pressure was unrelenting. And hopefully the Republicans will hang on and not just fork money over to Biden's buddy Zelensky, until Zelensky, one, accounts for the money he's gotten, two, shows us in detail what's going to happen, the money he's getting, and three, turns over the incriminating evidence he has of the highest crimes committed at the highest levels of our two governments, because he's committing crimes both here in the United States if he's doing that. But let's stop the namby-pamby with him and say, come on, you're not going to hold things over us. Let's be transparent. You give us everything you got, including all the offshore bank accounts. I don't care how many senators want to see them all. Think Biden's going to do that? And Hunter stopped complaining. God, stopped complaining. Well, God bless the people of Israel. God bless the people of America. And of course, God bless America. We'll see you.